Now Entering is made possible with support from Blackford County Community Foundation, Langdon Brothers Seed, with additional support from Smith Insurance Services, Waters Funeral Home, Hartford City Chamber of Commerce, Raymond James, Robert J. Taylor, Petoskey Plastics, KDC Investments, Citizens State Bank, Blackford County Economic Development, Hartford Veterinary Services. Driving through Blackford County on State Road 3, you could pass through Hartford City in just a few minutes, but the locals here would invite you to stop for a look around. Only a block away from State Road 3 stands perhaps the most recognizable building in Hartford City, the Blackford County Courthouse. Opened in 1895 during the heart of the Indiana gas boom, it's one of 2 Hartford City buildings on the National Register of Historic Places. Hartford City's population doubled during the gas boom of the late 19th century, and the glass-making business attracted so many immigrants from Belgium that the south side of the city was commonly referred to as Belgian Town. Today, you'll find residents who are passionate about art, history, or sports. But perhaps the thing citizens here are most passionate about is helping their neighbors and making Hartford City a great place to live. You'll see that in the stories told here by the residents themselves through their own photos and videos. You are now entering Hartford City, Indiana.
I'm Ron Branson, and I'm here to talk about the different churches here in the community, and in particular, my church, which is Grace United Methodist Church. That's where I serve right now as pastor. There's the Wesleyan Church on one end of town, and there's the Lighthouse on the other end of town, and Grace is right in between with our sister United Methodist Church Trinity right around the corner. We have a little bit of everything. There's a few Pentecostal churches, we've got a Baptist temple, the Nazarene Church. We do have a lot of really interesting things going on where the churches, though each has their own different appeal, do things together. One of my favorite stories is a year ago, we were able to actually, during the National Day of Prayer, gather members from churches throughout the community. We encircled the courthouse with people who were praying for the town, the state, and their country. And based on the size of our community, enough people to encircle the courthouse had to be virtually all of the different denominations coming together to make that happen. Grace has been involved in a transition right now for the 65-year-old preschool. We had a preschool that was started, in fact, as a kindergarten 65 years ago. And last year, we recognized that it had reached the point where it was no longer feasible to do part-time preschool. And so we began the program of transitioning it into a full-time, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 5-day-a-week, full year-round daycare with a preschool element integrated into it. Folks who aren't able to afford that kind of care will be able to get vouchers so that they can send their children to preschool, which most studies say is the best way to break the cycle of poverty. So we're really excited about that. We will have people at the preschool who are paying, and we'll have people who are on vouchers. And the thing that I think is the most interesting is that oftentimes children find themselves at different odds when they get to school because they come from different backgrounds. But these children will have friends who cover all of those backgrounds. And so I look forward to the idea that we're breaking boundaries, preparing kids for school, helping them to be everything that they need to be as they get ready to go into their lives. You know, I just think that one of the things that's most important in our community is that there are a lot of folks, both through faith communities and through other organizations, that are really working hard to try to make this the kind of place that people want to live. And if you wanted to ask me why I loved Hartford City, that would be the reason. It's the people who recognize the good and the prosperous future that's available here and are working really hard to make that happen.
My name is Brian Blevins, and I'm the founder of Hope House in Hartford City. Since I was about 17 years old, I struggled with a substance use disorder, and a lot of hurt, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt has come through my substance use disorder. But on November 24th, 2015, I was arrested for actually possession and dealing in heroin. There was a gentleman that came to see me. His name was Henry Long. And when he came to see me, they led me into a room and he asked me, he said, Brian, he said, if you died today, he said, where would you go? And that one question right there, I mean, just really broke my heart, because I grew up in church. I was most varsity letters, graduating Blackford High School. I was class president of my class. So, you know, I was a good kid. I just went down, you know, the wrong path. And the question of where would I go, I knew the answer to that question. And right there, he kind of led me, you know, to Christ in that room. So after Christmas, I had gotten into recovery, and I was going to NA, AA, A Better Life's Brianna's Hope, Celebrate Recovery. There was a meeting every day in Hartford City, but there was no meeting on Sunday. So I wanted something different. And the Grace United Methodist Church had allowed me to start a meeting, and it happened to be next door in a house, actually, right beside the church. Our first meeting, we had, I think, 25 people, and we provided a meal right there on the back porch, hot dogs and hamburgers. And, you know, we were socializing and sharing our stories, and we started growing, and we grew so fast that we grew out of the house. So we went from the house to the basement, and now we provide a meal in the basement, and we've been blessed to be able to go to the sanctuary of Grace United Methodist Church, which we've been there going on 4 years in March. I'm a humble person, so just being able to reach and help one person is an amazing thing. But at the Hope House in Hartford City, we fed about 17,000 people. So, you know, it's just very exciting to see what Christ is doing in the Hope House. I came from such a state of brokenness and hopelessness that I really didn't see any value in myself. And today, I work in the hospital, so if somebody overdoses or struggling through the birthing unit or the critical care unit, that I'm on call through Marion General Hospital. So my life is serving people with a substance use disorder. So, you know, what's going on in my life today is just an absolute miracle. A lot of people say it's a choice, others say it's a disease, but I know that it took 25 years of my life. I'm almost 4 years clean, November 24th. So recovery is possible. So, you know, I'm trying to, you know, pay my debt to Hartford City for all the wrongs that I've done, and I just want to be the light for someone else who maybe doesn't have a chance, or, you know, not to go down the wrong path. And I just hope that my story just can continue to help other people right here in Hartford City.
I'm John Creek, and I'm here to talk about Build a Better Blackford. Our mission is to basically address blight in our community and clean up as much blight as we can. When we first started out, there would be a blighted house. I remember one of the first ones we did in Hartford City, and this house had no windows in it, no paint. It was just really run down. It was owned by the person next door to it. So I went to that person and I said, well, say, what are you thinking about this house? He says, well, I'd really like to get rid of it, but I don't have any money. And I said, well, if we took it down, is that okay? And he said, well, yeah, that'd be fine if you want to do that. So I said, okay, we did that. And so that's what we did. think he had enough money to pay for the dumpster. The rest of the stuff we recycled or repurposed, and we had community service people helping us, and so we got rid of that house, and that was the beginning of it. We've done 16 houses for the Blackford Development Corporation. Overall, I think we've worked on over 90 properties in one way or another, trying to get rid of the blight here and there. I grew up on a farm, and in your farm, you see the long term. There's no short term in farming. I guess that's part of me, and the other people that I work with on our team see that the only thing you can do is just keep moving forward. Well, we hope to really bring back quality housing to the community. Some of the properties that we get are actually rehabable, and we're able to sell those to people who will actually rehab them and get them up to good shape again. And so one of our goals is to try to get those houses when there's still some value to them, and then try to get them into the hands of a rehabber who will then restore and save that house from becoming junk. The city and the county have always been helpful, because at one time when we were heavily taking down houses ourselves, the county loaned us one of their tandem dump trucks. And so it was easier to back that truck up to a home and take the roof off and get it into that dump truck and get rid of it. The city, they send their people, Department of Public Works or the Water Department have backhoes, and sometimes they've taken a couple houses, knocked them down for us. We have to do the cleanup and whatnot, but they'll knock us down and help us to do that. So it's been a big team effort, I think, all the way along. One of our people, Pat Redmond, that works with me, she's active in the seniors center, and she says she goes there and people will say, "Hey, so what's your next project?" They know that things are improving, and that's a big part of our community, is knowing that things, instead of deteriorating, somebody is doing something to get rid of this blight. And one of the real advantages of a small community like this is that people generally want to work together. People are friendly and they're supportive and positive. That friendliness and a willingness to pitch in and help and be concerned about our fellow citizens, that's a real key thing about Hartford City.
The city grew a lot in the 1890s thanks to the gas boom, and there was a need for a free public library. And there were some early attempts, but they all failed. And finally, in March of 1901, a three-person committee wrote to Carnegie and asked him to provide $15,000 to build a library here in Hartford City. They sent the request, and they waited, and they waited, and they waited, and they got no reply for a long time. What they didn't know was that Carnegie was on an extended tour of Europe. And so this request was sitting on a desk, and they'd almost given up hope when he finally replied and said yes, he would finance the library. The library opened in April of 1904, and the first librarian was a lady by the name of Grace Horn. She was a local girl, and she graduated in 1900 from Hartford City High School with about 12 other students, small school. And she worked for the superintendent of schools as his office assistant. So when the library was created, she was sent to the University of Wisconsin for some training and came back and was the librarian here for about 10 years, the first 10 years of the operation of the library. The stained glass window located above the front doors was not a part of the original library, and it's the original construction. It was added in later on in the 1970s. The library board initiated a contest to create a stained glass window in 1972 and contacted the local schools to see if art students were interested in doing this. Anyway, the winner of the contest was a local art teacher by the name of Gurney Mattingly. It still is there today, lit up from behind so you can see it at night, and it's a very integral part of the front of the library.
My name is Michelle Reisinger. I am Library Director of the Hartford City Public Library, and I am here to talk about our outdoor classroom and the programming we do in the Children's Department at the library. The park is officially called the Nature Play Park. We were approached by the Blackford Initiative, which is an outreach arm of the Blackford County Community Foundation. They brought us the idea. They knew we had this empty lot behind the library, and they thought this would be a good use of the property for the community. There were many, many discussions with the library board at the time, and we decided this was something that fit our mission. Our original design for the park was created by Pam Harwood from Ball State University. As the kids use it, there are changes that we decide we want to make. So it's kind of this living beast, and I think it will continue to be so as time goes on. I'm not seeing a point where the park is done. I'm viewing it more as, okay, so 10 years down the road, if the kids don't use this activity area, let's redo it. The combination of being able to get books and getting a little bit of playground time has been a good combination, I think. The park is going to become an integral part of our programming going forward, and I want it to be basically an extension of the children's department. What I'm working on right now is getting bond money to take off the atrium that's on the back of the library, make a small extension, and add doors that will go straight from the children's department right into that park, both allowing safe passage for the kids from the library to the park, but also, creating that feel that it is part of the library. It may be outside, but it is the library as well. Communities can really move mountains when they do work together, and it's been wonderful to be a part of.
I'm Maxie Malott, and I am a member of Sigma Phi Gamma Sorority, now Sigma Phi Gamma International Sorority. We were founded on August the 29th, 1920, almost 100 years ago. That's been a while back. There were 18 friends from here in Hartford that wanted to get together and have a friendship sorority. Some of the girls had, at that point in their life, been to college and had come back to Hartford, and they needed that friendship. They didn't want an academic sorority, but they wanted friends. They wanted their friends to get together, to have a purpose to get together. So that's how it all started. And we have chapters all over the United States currently, and in Canada. In 1945, there was 12.4 acres that was dedicated to our life founders, which were the 5 ladies that maintained their friendships and their work within Sigma Phi Gamma. And it's started with a great big blank field, and now it's full of slides and swings and baseball field, softball field, pee-wee football, active place all the time, busy. In 2020, we are going to have a centennial, 100-year birthday party. And I just cannot imagine how much fun it's going to be. Everybody's going to meet in St. Louis and probably have 400, 500, 600 women there. And I am hoping, and I think it probably will happen, as in 1920, there were 18 young women started this sorority. In 2020, I'm hoping that they will have an initiation of at least 18 new members.
I'm Teresa Henderson. I'm president of the Hartford City Park Board. In Hartford City, we have 5 parks. We have Kings Park. It's on the south end of town. It's named after a longtime superintendent of the parks. We offer playgrounds, shelter houses, and restrooms at that park. And across the creek, we offer a skateboard park. And then to the west, we offer horseshoe pits. We have Hoover Park, which was established in 1916. We have a basketball court that was newly renovated from a local family. It was a memorial to their father, who was a 5th grade ball coach here at the junior high in Hartford City. And so we've named it Overholser Court. We oversee Sigma Phi Gamma Park. We oversee the Memorial Pool Park. which includes a playground, open shelter house, and our memorial swimming pool. We had over 4,000 swimmers last year. We had 56 children get swim lessons at the memorial pool last summer. We actually have a wilderness park area, which covers about 50 acres. There's hiking year-round, a place to get out into nature. We have a dog park there. We have nature trails, which leads back to our newest project, which is at the Wilderness Park, where we have a prairie restoration. Professor Colby Gray from the landscape architecture class has networked with us on a design build at the prairie to connect our prairie to our nature trails. The parks are important in Hartford City to get people out into the community, to give a place for the youth in our community to have places to go. They can play ball, they can go to the skate park, they can go swimming in the summertime. It's important that we have the park system.
The Hartford City Urban Forest Greenscape Commission is the local tree board. We are responsible for seeing that trees are properly maintained on public spaces and on city-owned properties. We are a mixture of city residents and county residents that care deeply about this community and the appearance that we show our visitors when they come to this community. Recently, we have partnered with the Hartford City Library. They are doing a nature playscape for children on their property, and they asked us if we would help out with them, and we are in the process of putting 7 new native trees over on their property. A number of years ago, I noticed that we just no longer had the Christmas decorations that we had as I was a child growing up here in Hartford City. I looked around and went to our commission and said, what can we do to make the Christmas season, the holiday season brighter for everyone? And we came up with the idea of, let's decorate the downtown. The centerpiece of our community is our courthouse, and each year for the last 6 years or so, we've decorated the downtown for Christmas. And it's funny, each year now, usually in June or July, I have residents asking me, what's our theme going to be for Christmas? For Arbor Day, we always would plant a tree in one of the parks or one of the city-owned properties. And we thought to ourselves, how can we get the kids more involved? And what could we do to get them, to enjoy and appreciate nature more at a young age? And we thought, let's do a tree pass out. So every year for Arbor Day now, we do plant a tree for Arbor Day, but we also hand out saplings 2 to 3 feet in height to the children. And we have received a lot of positive feedback from that, from kids and from their parents. We look for areas of opportunity in the community. What else could we tackle? What other projects could be done? What areas of beautification need to be looked at? And we've kind of branched out, just not from trees, but beautifying. And that's how the litter cleanup came to be about. And it's been a successful, wonderful event for the community. To see folks come up to you and ask you in July what you're doing for Christmas, and when the snow's flying, what plants and flowers are you putting in this year? What tree projects do you have? That makes us feel really good and know that we're making a difference, and that's what we're shooting for. We're trying to make the community more inviting for visitors. I love Hartford City because it's a healthy, happy, safe community to live in. I would not want to raise my daughter anywhere else other than Hartford City. I knew what Hartford City meant to me growing up as a child, and I want that to mean the same to her and every other child.
Common Grounds is a community coffee shop. It's kind of the downtown social gathering place here in Hartford City. We've got a great menu of wraps and several different coffees and frappes and cappuccinos. A normal coffee shop fare, just like Starbucks, only better. I put in some time at Common Grounds. I don't do a lot of work over there, but I step and fetch and keep the light bulbs changed and the sidewalks swept and things of that sort. Yeah, we purchased Briscoe Block about a year ago, and it was in really bad shape. It's a lot better than it was, but we've still got a lot of work to do on it. There was a hole in the roof that was about big enough to drop a bus through, and it had leaked for the last probably 30 years anyway. And the second floor had rotted out of it. And so we've put a new roof on, and we've got the windows replaced in the south side of the building. So now we keep the water and the snow and the pigeons out and keep the heat in. We're eventually going to turn it into the new coffee shop. We're going to move from where we're at, a block down the street. We intend to put an entertainment area in so we can have local groups and bands come in and have some entertainment in the downtown in the future. To my best guess estimation is there's probably been at least 40 businesses in there in the last 120 years. So I think it's good to preserve these locations so that generations coming up will have some connectivity to somewhere. Because once they're gone, they're gone. It's never going to be what it was in 1893 when it was first built, but it's still going to have, most of its character. The memories are still in those walls, and that's why I say if those walls could talk, the tales they'd tell. Northeast corner, the old building that was there, it used to be Bill's Market, has been tore down, and we've got a brand new apartment complex going up, which looks really good and promising. I know of a couple of different families that are moving to town, and this is where they're going to live. They came for the school system. I think it's nothing but a positive. I think if you've got people that live down here, they're going to want to go to a coffee shop. They may want to go to a candy store. They may want to go to a place within walking distance of their apartment and see a live show of some kind. I see a lot of things happening in and around Hartford City that's positive. We're moving in the right direction.